Greg's Leftovers.
It's Leftovers, where I read the jokes that we didn't use this week, and as always, it's my first time reading them. So if they suck, we'll dress Joe Mackey up as Dana Perino and send him to Karl Rove's hot tub. Don't know what that means. An ICE agent saved the life of an unresponsive baby in a TSA line at JFK Airport. Yeah. While the agent was lauded as a hero, Democrats called him a Nazi for using the Heimlich maneuver. An indicted House Democrat could be expelled from Congress. She allegedly stole millions in COVID funds, and everyone knows that money was earmarked for Somalian thieves. A Secret Service agent guarding Jill Biden shot himself in the leg at the Philly airport on Friday. When he screamed, "Is there a doctor in the house?" Jill said yes and quickly started reading him a children's book. Nice. A New York City lawmaker is proposing a bill that would force the Big Apple to go dark after 11 p.m. Citizens worry this could cause an uptick in crime, while one man worries it'll be that much harder to pick out a hooker. The Olympics are now testing to verify the biological sex of all female competitors. Yeah. The proof will be based on whether they refuse to order French fries and then eat half of yours. Chicks. Am I right? Officials in Los Angeles have discovered a group of people who've been living inside a manhole for over a year. And worse, the man didn't even notice.
Of course.
There's a new dating app where you can buy someone a drink, and it has over 20,000 people on its waiting list to get the free drink. Some of the people on the waiting list include Kamala Harrisburg, Kamala Harristein, Kamala O'Harris, and I swear I'm not Kamala Harris. Good joke. Meta and YouTube were found liable for a woman's crippling social media addiction in a $3 million trial. And apparently she was just looking at one photo. Should come with a warning label. TSA workers have reportedly resorted to selling blood while they go unpaid during the partial shutdown. The good news is all the extra blood selling has slashed the price of delicious blood. I knew that wasn't going to land, but I didn't care. A person was arrested for urinating on furniture and appliance in an Airbnb, causing thousands of dollars in damages. She was immediately hired as a Joe Biden impersonator. Police in Missouri are investigating why fentanyl was found in the packaging of Barbies. Surprise detectives say this is the type of behavior we expect from illegal alien Ken. Bill Maher is getting the Mark Twain Award for humor. Big deal. I'm getting the Shania Twain Award for being most likely to bang Shania Twain.
What?
Finally, a 40-foot dead whale washed up on a New York beach. Don't worry, though. The whale's next of kin has already been notified. All right. So this week, the International Olympic Committee finally made it clear that only women can compete in women's Olympic sports. I know. What a brilliant and novel idea. I say that with my tongue so far implanted in my cheek, I look like I'm blowing a female Algerian boxer. I wonder if the scientific evidence is very clear.
The scientific evidence is very clear. Male chromosomes give performance advantages in sports that rely on strength, power, or endurance. At the Olympic Games, even the smallest margins can be the difference between victory and defeat. So it's absolutely clear that it would not be fair for biological males to compete in the female category. In addition, in some sports, it would simply not be safe.
So what changed? Well, for one, we wore them down by exposing what they had known already but denied, that they were letting men pretend to be women in order to compete. But maybe even they got disgusted watching a dude kick the crap out of a woman at the Paris Olympics. But not enough, apparently, to make the fraud give his medal back. So the cheater, Khalif, gets to keep his women's gold, which he can proudly hang around his scrotum. But what's incredible isn't that the IOC finally came to their senses, it's how the media covered it. For context, here's how Fox headlined the story. IOC announces new policy to ensure only females compete in women's competitions. Pretty straightforward, tells you exactly what the new rule will do. Now check out these other outlets. Here's AP. Transgender women athletes banned from female Olympic events by new policy. CNN. Transgender women athletes banned from Olympics by new IOC policy on female eligibility. NBC News, transgender women banned from Olympics by new IOC policy. So all those headlines are lies because transgender athletes can still compete. It just has to be in the category that aligns with their biological sex. Meaning, if you want to see men punch women in the face, you'll need to eat at a Waffle House. So, it's not a ban any more than I am banned from taking a crap because I can't use the women's John. It's just putting people in the right category. But it's obvious that the lefty media is really just trying to frame it as an act of bigotry from the IOC. You know, like when they banned straight men from the figure skating. When in fact, the only thing reversed is the denial of reality. Because for years, the rule was never about fairness, it was about fear. Fear of saying the obvious, fear of getting yelled at by people who were picked last in gym and life. And that's what this whole saga has been about, telling you what you're not allowed to notice. Remember when rational people first saw men invading women's sports and said, hey, something seems off here, they were treated like the crazy ones. They were being gaslit, and so was biology. But luckily, Mother Nature won out. You can lecture us, even legislate us, but eventually, reality shows up like a boner in a bikini. The IOC didn't discover biology, they surrendered to it. It's less of a policy shift and more of a confession. They should have added an apology, made the cheater give his medal back, and charged him with domestic violence. But this should put to bed one of the most repetitive defenses of transmania, that just because something is rare, like a dude impersonating a chick, it's not a problem. But that works only as long as you don't measure the impact. One fighter's violent deception can easily affect many lives, endorsements, careers, women's health. But it's a tiny percentage argument is a ruse, because in a civil society, that's all you need to ruin it for everyone. Just like a repeat offender commits the bulk of crimes, you only need one bad egg to ruin a neighborhood. And the impact is always larger and more destructive than everyone else's, especially when it's delivered to a woman's face. Tom, you're about as old as me, I think, right?
Yeah, we're about the same era.
Yeah, so I want to go back to I'd say the late 60s, early 70s, where people were outraged because East German women were taking drugs that made them into men. Do you remember this?
Yes.
And everybody was talking about it. But now you had the same thing happening today in the Olympics, but there was a social protection. It wasn't about cheating, it was about identity. It was quite the ruse, don't you think?
Yeah, and well, we grew up in that era where you had like the Lou Reed song, and we knew of this issue, right? And they used to say like, oh, that guy got a sex change.
Yeah.
But they didn't say that guy's a woman. They would say that guy got a sex change operation. He got an operation. He didn't change his sex.
Yeah.
So they were able to deal with the truth back then. You know, the amazing thing, like the thing that bothers me the most, I realized it today, is they made me put math in my English. I like to keep the math separate from I was always better at English, you know, I wasn't as good at math. But now with language, you have to put everything in a math problem. I can't figure out what the hell they're talking about.
Yeah.
You know, you'll read an article in the New York Times, it's like transgender woman beats man to death. And you're like, okay, transgender in parentheses. And then that goes with the woman. It makes it a negative. We're talking about a guy here.
Yes.
Right? You got to figure it out.
I get confused.
Yes.
Like, I'll see trans men and I'll think it's a chick acting like a guy acting like a chick, but it's a girl acting like a guy.
Yes, I just read, there was an article in the New York Times there was a long form article about this female cult. These female cult members, and they were committing all these crimes. They were robbing banks, they had weapons, they were killing people. And I'm reading, I'm like, what is this women's cult? And then I realized it's a bunch of dudes.
Yes.
But they won't say it in the article.
They expect you to do the homework. You know, Paul, I was trying to figure out why they didn't tell that Khalifa guy to give back his medal. I'm beginning to think it's because the IOC already knew that he was a guy. And so he's like, well, you should have kicked me out. You didn't.
Yeah, and I mean, first of all, if you watch 15 seconds of that fight that he had, you know he's a guy. And by the way, let me thank you for the mental image of the gold medal around the scrotum. That's really something I want to take to my grave. You know, I think that I'd come up with a solution for this here, because this is going to always happen in the Olympic context, is they're not going to give up. They're going to continue to push back on this, because this is all, at the end of the day, it's all these governing bodies from Europe and all this other stuff, and they all want to be very progressive. So we have the Olympics, we have the Paralympics. We now need every 4 years. You're clearly mentally ill Olympics. Because the idea that you're going to take a sport wherein the decision comes down to 1/10 of a second, but then when a guy is competing against a woman, he wins by 14 seconds.
Yeah.
We call that a clue in law enforcement, guys. This is not a woman. This is a guy. It's blatant. And just the thing that bothers me so much about it, aside from all the obvious things of injustice and everything, we're always told how hard it is for people who have transitioned. And look, that's your right. If you're an adult, leave the kids out of it. I think most sentient adults would agree with that. But you leave the kids out of it, you're an adult, you want to do this, fair enough. And then we hear how hard it is to have done this. And yet, you've decided that you have to go into the public sphere and compete in a controversial way against women, just drawing attention to yourself and making your life that much harder. Tell you what, if you're going to transition and your life is so hard as a result, don't run the 100 against a bunch of women.
Yeah.
And your life will be a hell of a lot simpler. And that's how you know it's really about narcissism and look at me.
Yeah, exactly. It's an attention-getting device. You know, Andrew, I'm really hoping that you can compare this news to something in the culinary world. Something about the kitchen, where maybe a slice of meat pretends to be a fish.
Yes, yes. I think I've done that on previous shows.
I think
so
you have.
I'll go fresh here. You know, it's interesting what Paul said about how you have the, you know, kind of, they're basically now going to have the Trans Olympics.
Yes.
And which is going to be nothing more than just, you know, a Halloween party at Pink's Hot Dogs.
I would watch that.
Yes, I would watch it too. Now, you talked about how they're really ginning up outrage here. That's what this was about. It was about, well, they're lying, and it was only Fox News who got this right. The reason they're doing that is because the next Olympics are in Los Angeles. So they're going to create a parallel economy, if not a whole new economy here, that's going to revolve around the idea of these Trans Olympics at Pink's Hot Dogs. Second culinary reference.
Yes. I love that place, by the way.
Well, not after I make my third.
Okay.
So just imagine now, this is going to be the focus around the entire Los Angeles Olympics. This is going to be complete outrage. I almost feel cynically that this was by design. Would they do that? No, they would never do that. But this is by design. So get ready, Los Angeles, because we're going to be turning your T-bones into sardines. You asked for it.
I did. I was expecting something tastier. Kat, what do you make of how the media describes this? Why are they holding on to this?
Well, yeah, I'm a little stuck on what Tom was talking about with the cult. I'm like still thinking about. I had never heard of that.
Oh,
I would
it's
never heard of
amazing.
it. No, I can't. I would be so pissed if I thought I was joining some like witchy, spooky, girly cult, and then I got there and it was just a room full of.
You know, you were too late for the Manson family.
I would be so upset. No, look, the thing is, they're working against public opinion too. I mean, obviously, it's like 25% of people say that would be against this. But I also think that number's kind of high. I think that some of those people are answering the phone and their wife's over there.
Yeah.
And they're like, of course, I think it's terrible. But then also she's only pretending to think it's terrible because all of her friends do. I think that everybody can logically understand why this is a problem, because you can live and let live and do what you want to do as long as it doesn't hurt anybody. But as you pointed out, there are consequences to this that are not zero sum.
Yeah.
So I think that Democrats really blew it when they tried to make this about phobia, when really there were very well researched and quite frankly just reasonable logical arguments that this was really about fairness all along.
Yeah, I mean, you made that point like it was a couple of weeks ago about that lady that was asking the collegiate athlete, like, how competitive are you?
Yeah.
And she ignored the fact, and she said that I played Little League.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you don't get scholarships.
Yeah, there's real stuff at those levels.
Yeah.
Then all the more so at the Olympics.
Yeah, exactly. Before we go, come see me on my live tour with Tom Shiloh. I don't know who he is. Next month, we'll be in Georgia and Alabama. Then Idaho and Missouri in May. That's exciting. Go to ggutfeld.com for tickets.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.